Well, good afternoon. I'm Chris Scherer, Member Communications Director of the Society of Broadcast Engineers, and the co-host of this month's episode of the SBE WEBxtra, the SBE chapter of the web. This is a monthly SBE meeting, usually held on the third Monday of the month. The SBE is the Association for Broadcast and Multimedia Technology Professionals, with about 5,000 members, mostly in the U.S., but also around the world. The SBE WEBxtra is sponsored by Catrine. Catrine, unique experience, individual solutions, reliable performance. The host of today's SBE WEBxtra is SBE board member Kirk Harnack, who is also the chair of the SBE Social Networking Committee. How you doing, Kirk?
I'm good. Thank you, Chris. And it's great to see you. On today's show, we have a topic that I didn't first hear about this until about a month ago. And as soon as I heard about it and understood what it was, I thought this is absolutely brilliant. We should have done this a long time ago. So I'm glad we get new board members, new ideas, new committee members to think of ways that the SBE can be even more helpful to both existing career engineers and those just entering the broadcast engineering field. So that's what today's topic is about, this incredible new program with our guest, Geary Morrill. Geary will be coming up along with me after Chris brings us a member update. Chris?
That's right. Here is your SBE member update for January 18, 2021. Chapters, make note, if you are meeting virtually, you should still report those meetings to the national office, just as you would an in-person meeting. These meetings still count towards the minimum 5 meetings held during a calendar year necessary to qualify for an annual chapter rebate. On the education side, the SBE is launching a new series of webinars by SBE, the 2021 IP Networking Series. The first 3 parts are already on the schedule. Part 1, Network Topology and Standards, airs on January 21st. Part 2, a focus on Ethernet switching, airs on February 25th. And Part 3, a focus on everything Layer 3, airs on March 25th. Wayne Pacina leads all these webinars. We also have another one on the schedule for January 28th, MA3 All Digital AM Things to Know. The FCC authorized stations to use MA3 in October, and there are plenty of questions and misunderstandings, and Jeff Welton of Nautel has lots of answers. Jeff was involved in the first all-digital field tests done by the NAB, and he has installed dozens of AM HD radio systems. He shares his firsthand experience in this webinar. For more information on webinars by SBE, go to sbe.org/webinars. Certification. The next SBE certification exam window at local chapters is February 5th to the 15th, 2021. The application deadline has passed for that. This exam window will be the first opportunity to take the new SBE ATSC3 Certification Specialist exam. And if you missed applying for the February window, you can find the complete 2021 SBE certification exam schedule on the SBE website. Also remember, if a local chapter exam is not convenient for you or not possible because of COVID restrictions or something else, private proctoring is available. More information on SBE certification is online at sbe.org/certification. And that is your SBE member update for January 18, 2021. Kirk?
I just realized we haven't spoken with members via this channel since before Christmas. So maybe you got a nice Christmas gift. I actually had to buy this for myself, but I thought it was cool. Don't make me use my announcer voice.
Very nice.
Sell,
very nice.
Yeah. Etsy, Amazon, different places sell those. So, all right, good. Thank you for the update, Chris. And Chris, thank you for alerting me to the idea of having this particular program with Geary Morrill. First of all, let's bring Geary Morrill in. Hello, Geary. Glad you could join us for SBE WEBxtra. Hi.
And my pleasure. I'm sure happy to be here.
We're going to I gave a nice tease. This is we're going to talk about a program, and I'm going to let Geary introduce it, but then I'm going to have a lot of quick questions about it. So, Geary, why are you here? What are we talking about today?
Well, we're talking about something that's new, and yet it's not exactly new. It's just new how we've got it put together so that folks can use it. We're talking about the Technical Professional Training Program. And this is a new initiative that the society has come up with, and quite frankly, I think it's something that is probably overdue for being available to people, but I think it's going to be attractive to a whole lot of folks.
So I'd like to give an analogy as to what we're talking about here. You know, if you go into one of these fancy sub sandwich shops, and you look at the menu, and you can get 18 different kinds of bread, and 20 different different meats and meat selections on there, combinations of meats, or meatless, vegetarian, vegan, and then you have all the different condiments. It's like going into a Subway sandwich shop on steroids. And so when people become a new member of the SBE, or they're wanting to get into broadcast engineering, they may want to say, is there something here that's interesting to me? I'm not quite sure. I think I like what they do at the radio station. I think I'd like to be part of the behind the scenes and keeping things on the air. The technical stuff is intriguing to me, but I'm not really sure how to get started. And they go to like the SBE website, or they open up something like this SBE Broadcast Engineering Handbook, and they see, oh my goodness, look at how thick the book is. Do I have to know all of this before I can really start engineering? And the answer is no, you don't have to. And we're now going to make it easy. Instead of making you pick a flavor and a bread and a meat and all the condiments and the stuff, we're going to suggest, why don't you try, the meat lovers, or why don't you try the veggie sandwich? And in other words, to make it easy for a person to look at this and say, aha, here's a great place to start. And I've probably given away too much information at that point. Gary, talk to me about some of the details that I've glossed over in this technical
not at all. And one of the things that you brought up, Kirk, is the fact that people look at that and they get overwhelmed, and that's somebody that's interested in broadcast engineering. Well, let's talk about people that aren't necessarily interested in broadcast engineering, but they know that they need one. And they've been looking for someone because, let's face it, members and engineers that I'm familiar with, as time goes by, they tend to become a little older. And I don't think it's a secret to anybody that there's not a plethora of young talent that's coming into our profession. Now, I've got some friends that are very well schooled in broadcast engineering, and they're considerably younger than I am. But the fact of the matter is, they're few and far between compared to what I remember when I first got involved in the industry. And so, let's say that you're an owner of an AM/FM, and you would like to be able to find somebody. But let's say that you found somebody that has an aptitude, but they don't really have the knowledge. What the heck do you do to help them? I remember what it was like when I got involved, and quite frankly, my employer sent me to tech school and paid for it because it was a tech school. Now, go out and try to find one of those today. That's not easy to do.
You made a good point. I just realized that there's a group of stations I'm involved with in Mississippi, and once in a while we get an intern or a college or a high school student through there that not only does some on the air work, but they're showing some aptitude toward the electronics, and they're always offering to help out. And sure, sometimes by phone or by FaceTime, I'll have them swap a hard drive out, move a cable, do something like that. And wow, that's the exact kind of person that could use this program that we're talking about, the Technical Professional Training Program, the TPT from the SBE. So, the SBE has an enormous number of resources available online. Most of them at a cost, or many of them at a cost. If you're an SBE Member Plus member, then many of those are no additional cost. But how would a person know what to go study, what to look at, what to even move toward as maybe their first certification? So Gary, tell me about what the SBE in this Technical Professional Training Program, what have you put together, your committee put together to make it a little bit easier to grab this package and just do what's in the package?
Okay. Basically, what we've did is we've got a whole education program that we have in the way of webinars, okay? And you heard Chris talking about some of them that are coming up. I think we've got somewhere around 100 of them. And they cover a real wide swath of of the technical knowledge that people need to be able to function effectively in broadcast engineering. So the webinars are pretty obvious to people that that would be something that they'd like to, that they would, like to be able to absorb and take in, but then they might not necessarily know which ones to look at, because as I've often said to a lot of people, one of the problems is you don't know what you don't know. And so how do you deal with that? So we've got the webinars, and the way that we bring those to folks in this program is by giving them a membership in Member Plus, which means that instead of paying an a la carte price for each one of those webinars, and let's face it, if you're just getting started, you're probably going to want to pull in a whole lot of them. We'll give you a one-size-fits-all, and for the over the course of a year, you've got access to be able to get any of those webinars and view them at your leisure. Okay, we do have some that come up every month, and those are new additions to our program, but there is a whole bunch of them that are available on demand to be conveniently viewed by you when you've got the time. Okay, so we've got the webinars. We talked about the SBE Broadcast Engineering Handbook. Okay, that is a let's see here. That's something that has been around for just the last couple of years, and something that people need to realize. They may say, well, I don't want to read that thing cover to cover. Well, of course you don't. But if you are working on a project and you happen to be the type of person that takes in information by reading better, well, isn't it good to have a resource on hand that you can go ahead and go to page 857 and be able to read more and get some detail out of a part of broadcast engineering that you're looking to understand, that you're looking to implement. So that is in there, okay? Also, we've got a mentor program that has been in place now. I think it's year number 4 that we're just about ready to get underway. And that mentor program pairs up a new person that is looking to get into the industry with someone who has experience, somebody who, if you will, is a little farther down the road and can answer questions and help direct somebody towards the information that they're looking for. Okay.
Hey, Gary,
and if they have, go ahead.
If I could interject for 1 second, even though I said that, we kind of, for people new to the industry, we hand you a program, this technical professional training program.
Yeah.
Even though you could choose from any of the of the webinars that you want to, you're not going to have time for all of them, but choose what you want, or even though you're going to have time to start looking in the handbook, the mentor that you just mentioned, the mentor program, is to me what ties this together, what customizes this program for the new entrant into the broadcast engineering field. So let's say that the new entrant in the field needs to start working with some FM audio processing, FM STL, studio transmitter link, or an FM transmitter. Well, the mentor may say, hey, there's a chapter in here that tells all about the FM baseband, and you're going to need to know about that. So let's look at that chapter. And maybe the station is even an HD radio station. Well, the very next page starts to show what is happening in the HD radio domain and explaining what these things are. The mentor is the customizer for the somebody coming in new to the business. Now, of course, somebody coming in new can make their own decisions as to what they want to look at, but that mentor can really steer you in the right direction, and that's why that is absolutely available. And I'm glad that it is great to include the mentor program in the TPT.
Absolutely. And one of the ways that the mentor and the mentee can get on track with a lot of this stuff is we also put in the Cert preview program, which is a certification study tool that if you know that you're going for a certain level of SBE certification, it helps you to get familiar with what type of topics you're going to run into on that exam, because it's a whole series, if you will. It's a mock exam, if you will, and it has it has multiple choice questions that are in there that are of the type that you're going to see on your certification exam. Now, if you're a new person coming into this industry, you are going to be looking to get your first level of certification, which is a Certified Broadcast Technologist. And so we've included that Cert preview, and between you and your mentor reviewing that information together, it becomes pretty obvious to your mentor which areas you might need to get dig in a little bit more on. You may have some of the knowledge, but there may be areas that you don't. In other words, you might be a new person, and hey, you're IT to the max, but over here on this RF side, and oh, by the way, the company you're going to go to work for has an AM directional, and you kind of look at that and went, ooh, I don't know about that. Well, we'll be able to help direct you that way as a mentor in this program, and be able to get you there. And of course, because you're studying with your mentor and you're using the Cert preview, the goal is really to be able to help you over the course of a few months to be able to actually sit for that exam and pass it, which is going to put you in a great position to be able to show your either a potential employer or the person that has sponsored you in this program, your current employer, hey, I'm making progress, I'm learning this stuff, you're getting a value for the investment that you made in helping me get off the ground in this program. So that's really what's there. And these are all pieces, Kurt, these are all pieces that we had in place. We just never really had them packaged together. I like to tell people it's more of a marketing thing than it is a new invention. We're just, taking those principles of let's make it easy for the end user and applying them to what we have in front of us. So
it's kind of funny. Many, many years ago, I studied for and got my private pilot's license for a fixed wing aircraft. And I happened to go to a place that was pretty good about telling me what I needed to learn, and the ground school, the actual hands-on training and so forth, and how many hours it would probably take. But there were plenty of airports that people would walk into, small general aviation airports, and they didn't have a specified program all put together as a package. It's whatever your instructor wanted you to do, and you weren't really sure about how much it would cost. You're not sure about how much time it would take. You didn't know if your schedule and your instructor schedule could work out together. And then some smart people in aviation said, hey, let's make a program, a private pilot's program. And then the cost became a much better known object. And the course of instruction that you would study and your testing and then your hands-on, your flight training all became a much better thing. And that started to occur, I think, pretty much in the late 70s, and then through the 80s is when that occurred. I took some pilot training kind of early in that whole thing. Well, I want to think that this SBE program is very similar, that we've had all these resources before, but we weren't so good about helping people new to the business know, hey, you're new? Here, let me suggest you do this and this and this. And you need to buy this book. You're going to need to study some of this, but we're going to hook you up with a mentor who's going to walk you through all this and see what you're good on. Maybe you're really good at IT. Maybe you're good at networking already. Maybe you're good at studio audio already. Maybe you understand microphones and headphones and mixing, but you don't understand yet RF transmission systems, and you're going to need to know that. So that's the beauty of having the mentor involved, and then the program as a whole package for people to go with. I just think this is brilliant, and I'm glad that we've done it. Tell me, Geary, who are the people who've been kind of the mastermind behind putting this program together for people new to our industry?
Well, I've got to be real blunt with you, and it started out basically as something that I needed. Okay. I'm a regional director of engineering with a radio group, Alpha Media, and I took that on in 2016. And one of the things that we needed to do was to be able to bring someone on board in the market and basically have them be able to take over with what it was that I was doing. And of course, if you've gone out and you've looked at people and you're in a market the size of where I happen to live in Saginaw, Michigan, it's not a major market. It may not be a destination for a lot of people. So you're going to run into people that have that may have an aptitude, but they're not going to have the knowledge. And I was sitting here looking at what we have available in the SBE, and I said, we can kind of piece something together here, and we ought to do this. And we can use this. And about that time, we were starting the mentorship program. And I said, well, I'm going to get involved with that because I can see where that would be helpful with somebody, because I had mentors. I had folks that helped me along the way. They were in existence at the stations I worked at because they had larger staffs at the time. And so as we started looking at all of these different pieces and stuff, I've basically been test driving this program without realizing that we were going to do a program for about 4 years. And we've had a couple other folks within the region that I'm responsible for that have come into the broadcast technician side of what we're doing as a broadcast engineer. One of them was a member of a street team doing promotions and stuff. The other happened to be coming from the programming side, but he was an amateur extra. So he had some knowledge about electronics, at face value, but looking at what you're dealing with today in a broadcast environment, there's a lot of different disciplines that you've got to have your hands on. So people needed some comfort, and then of course you're looking at the people who I was talking with as we're looking to find somebody. They know less about it than the people that are involved in engineering, and they just wanted some comfort that, hey, we have a plan in place and we're going to bring a person along and we're going to educate them, and you're going to help and mentor them. And I said, yes. So it's really been kind of an ongoing brainchild that I had maybe about 4 years ago. And then when we started getting this thing rolling and stuff, I said, we have a demand for this all over the place. We within the Michigan Association of Broadcasters, I've been talking with their management team for years about what are we going to do. We've got people, and they're getting older and they're getting older and they're getting older, and when they decide to retire, who's going to fill their shoes? To an old country song there. Who's going to fill their shoes? Well, we've been working towards that, and I was listening to what they were saying, and I have friends that own stations, and all of this was going on, and I'm sitting here going, I think we can use this and do even more. And really, that was in the back of my mind when I decided to put my name into nomination for the board with the SBE. I was a charter member of the chapter up here in Michigan when we put Chapter 91 on the map back in the 80s, but I had never really done anything at a national level. And I said, it's time to give back. It's time to give back. I had so many people give as I was coming into the industry, and I want to turn around and maybe make it even better than it was when I came on board. Make it easier for the next generation to be able to take over. So that's really it in a nutshell, Kirk.
As we started this conversation, I kind of thought that our audience, the people we were trying to interest in this program, were people who indeed were the ones who were coming into the industry. But as you just described, employers should be very interested in this program. In other words, in offering it, hey, you've got some aptitude. Looks like you want to do this. And maybe some kind of cost sharing could come in. You want to have the prospective engineer, to have some skin in the game, so to speak, but for a price of under $500. And we'll talk about the cost here in a minute. The employer and the prospective engineer could both get on board and get that person up to speed pretty quickly on a lot of the basic technologies that go on around a broadcast plant. Can you tell me what the cost I show here is $475 for the SBE's Technical Professional Training Program. What do you get for that $475?
Okay, you're getting a 1-year SBE Member Plus membership. That gives you
Okay.
access to all of the webinars. You get a copy of the SBE Certified Broadcast Technician Cert Preview, that if you will, mock exam that we've talked about. You get a copy of the SBE Broadcast Engineering Handbook. That'll be sent right direct to you, okay? And you'll have that in your hands for whenever you want to look at it. And if your mentor is directing you towards that, that's the other thing. We're going to enroll you in the SBE Mentor Program. And if if you're part of a radio group or someplace that's got a mentor that's already on board, that is interested in working with this program, great. If not, we do have a mentor program within the society, and we'll link you up with somebody so that you'll get that guidance. And then, of course, we're even going to cover your Certified Broadcast Technician Certification Exam application fee, okay? So basically, all of the investment is there to get you off the ground and get you rolling. Once you're working in this program and you're liking it and you want to continue, quite frankly, I can't imagine somebody being involved with the Member Plus program that's planning on staying in the industry, making a career out of it, that isn't going to want to continue that access. And while the TBT program will cover you for your first year, you're going to be able to go ahead and re-up at the end of that year, not for the $475, but just for the Member Plus program, because everything else that we're talking about is in there. It's included in that price. So it's designed to stay with you and help you all the way through your broadcast career.
I got to say something nice about this handbook. This is an amazing book, and I was just while you were talking, I just happened to open to a page. I was wondering how up to date this is. The book itself now is a couple of years old, and technology just does change quickly. And I was amazed to find complete explanation of PTP, Precision Time Protocol. This is an essential technology in the video over IP world and audio over IP world. So this is a very much up-to-date handbook. And boy, it's a lot. How many pages are in this thing? Good gosh. Now, again, not that you would need them all. And I bought this one myself. I actually bought it kind of on a dare. I didn't. It's part of the $475 package. This is not a cheap book. And it shouldn't be. It's a rather expensive book, but you get it with the professional training, technical professional training program. And the other aspects are like that too. The webinars are very valuable. I've never done the Cert preview. I've been too cheap to do that, so I just took the test without previewing it. Luckily,
and if you've got the knowledge, no problem.
Yeah.
But take it from me. I mean, here's a guy that started out with turntables and cart machines and analog audio. Okay, I mean, that's what we did. AM directionals were something that I had a lot of experience with. The IT world, not so much. So really, the ability for me to pick up that part of our industry and keep myself up to date, if you will, has happened because of the webinars and also because of the Cert preview. I did pick up a Cert preview when I went to get my certified broadcast, network engineer certification, because I really wanted to see what was in there. It's an area where I was learning, but I didn't have all the knowledge. And sometimes it's helpful to know what you don't know so that you can learn it. And so that's what I learned.
At the end of this program, a person, when they're ready, takes the exam for the SBE CBT, Certified Broadcast Technologist. And I've got to put a plug in here. These exams, these are proctored exams. This is no phony baloney, rubber stamp certification. You have to take a test that is a real test, and it's timed and it's proctored, and it means something when you come out of it, and you're proud to put those letters CBT or whatever exam you've taken at the end of your title. That can become a professional title for you.
Absolutely. And one thing that people may not realize is with our certification exams, they are open book exams. Why? Because when you're working in our industry, you're looking at reference material all the time. Sometimes it's not having everything memorized and having the answer to every question. What's going to make you a valuable resource is to be able to find the information, to access it and apply it. And so that that broadcast engineering handbook that you've got, that thing is going to be welcome to go with you when you take the certification exam, and you're going to be able to go in there and be able to use that as one of your resources during that exam as well.
I've asked all the questions that I think I can, but maybe Chris Scherer would like to pick up on anything that he thinks we've forgotten or overlooked.
Sure, I can do that. First off, you mentioned you bought the SBE Broadcast Engineering Handbook on a dare. I think you need some new hobbies, Kirk. If that's the excitement of your life, wow, that says a lot right there. Ooh, I bought a book. Actually, Geary brought up a great point on the certification exams, SBE certification exams, that they are open book, because sure, we in your career and in your industry profession, you learn a lot, you retain a lot, but there's certainly a lot we don't know. As Geary said, he came in with turntables and transmitters, but IT was new. Someone else has a totally different experience. So it's just as important to be able to find the knowledge as it is to know it. Knowing where to find it is another part of the game. I will mention as well, earlier on you mentioned, Kirk, that this is something that could be attractive to, say, group owners and station groups and so on. We've prepared this one sheet, which is an excellent tool you can show to your managers, your corporate people. It's also on the SBE website, sbe.org/TBT. It's everything in a nutshell. It's got all the bullet points, exactly what's involved in the program, what's offered. And I'll kind of repeat what's maybe been brushed over a few different times. The whole concept of the TPT, it's a one-stop shop. So instead of having to submit applications and fees for membership, for the application for mentor program, to actually buy the book, as was noted, you're doing one form, one fee. It's just a lot easier to get in. And then back to what Geary said, you don't know what you don't know. You don't know what program really to take advantage of with the SBE. Yep. And its membership. So enroll through the TPT and your foot's not only in the door, your whole body's in. I mean, the whole thing is right there. So jump on in. The water's great.
Absolutely. And one thing to mention, when I was talking about kind of brainstorming this thing and putting it together, you got to remember that we have a lot of committees within the SBE that are responsible in all these different areas. I mean, we've got a very active mentor committee. We've got a very active certification committee. And so as we were looking to put this thing together, I'll be real blunt. I went in and pitched this to a lot of the different committee chairmen and their committees, and said, this is something that I think will help us, and this is how your committee and what you guys are already doing can be used for this. So, what ideas might you have that we can apply to this program to make it even better than maybe what I was thinking about? And so we've done that over the process of a few months to get this thing ready to roll. And our outgoing executive director was extremely excited about this, and I'm just excited to have it in place for Jim Ragsdale as he's coming in to have a program here that we're launching off something brand new, and of course he'll have input on it as well. And I don't know, everybody I've talked with about this so far internally has gotten very excited about it. And I'm sure that when state associations see this, when group owners see this, when independent broadcasters see this and become aware of it, and that's a marketing thing for us to do, is to get that out to people. We've talked in some of the trade newspapers and stuff about what's coming and pointing people towards this, but it's really just getting off the ground. So if you've been looking at this and going, it's already in place, the opportunity's gone. Oh, no. The opportunity just launched at the beginning of the year. So you're getting in on the ground floor. So it's a great time. It's a great time.
Good deal, man. This is I'm so glad you've put this together, and of course, as you said, it's you saw a need, and hey, we're putting this together anyway. I've assembled this. Why not make this into a program, a one-stop shop? If people want to get more information on this, go to the SBE website. It's sbe.org/TPT, as in technical Professional Training, TPT. And you can as was mentioned, you can download for yourself this one sheet. You can print it out, show it to maybe whoever you'd like to bring into the program, or get somebody else to pay for the program, or go in with you. And there's plenty of information about it right there on the website. Geary, Chris, anything extra before we call it a close?
I think that we've covered everything that I can think of from this end.
Well, good deal. Chris, Scherer, anything else from you? Looks like Chris may be frozen right now. We'll see if we can get Chris back in a second. Geary, thank you for being here. Really appreciate you putting the work toward this and making it all happen and making it available. I'm going to continue to get the word out for people myself, and I wish this was available years ago when I joined SBE and broadcast engineering. I tell people I shocked myself enough times I found out where all the electrons like to hang out. Now I don't touch those places anymore. Well,
thanks for the opportunity. I appreciate being able to come on and share this information that I think is going to be beneficial to, I'm going to stick my neck out here, hundreds, if not thousands of people.
Oh, I think you're right. And you know what, it needs to be, because the opportunities are coming along. A lot of them are already here, but as people our age begin to look at retirement and getting out of the business, I know we've been talking about this for a couple of decades, but man, there's a lot of folks that are out there that are retiring, and
we got older.
Plenty of engineers to be there. Let's see. Is Chris available? Perhaps he doesn't seem like he's finished. Let's give him one more chance to come in. If Chris becomes available, we're going to let him close out the show. Geary, you've been able to. Oh, there's Chris. Chris, I think we're done.
Chris.
Why don't we let you take us on out?
Sorry about that. My connection decided to freeze and lock up at the most inopportune time. But hello and welcome to Broadcasting. Phil.
Vamp.
The show must go on. So is that my official handoff back to me?
Yeah, it's yours now.
All righty, great. Thanks. Well, thanks for putting up with me not being right on the ball right there at the reboot last second. Geary, thanks a lot for joining us this afternoon. This has been the SBE WEBxtra, the SBE chapter of the web. We present this monthly, and we hope you'll join us each time. Post the replay on our YouTube channel, usually within a day. The SBE WEBxtra is sponsored by Catrine, whom we thank for their support. Catrine, unique experience, individual solutions, reliable performance. If you hold SBE certification, viewing the SBE WEBxtra qualifies you for 1/2 point in category G, that's under attendance, just like attending a local chapter meeting. And that does it for this installment of the SBE WEBxtra from the Society of Broadcast Engineers, the Association for Broadcast and Multimedia Technology Professionals. Thanks again to our guest, Geary Morrill. And on behalf of Kirk Harnack, we'll see you next month.